So let me just start off by saying this. For the people that come on my videos and watch my videos and want to call me racist, call me hatred, want to say that I'm causing division, right? You have an undeveloped brain. Most of you have, most of the people that think like that have animal DNA, and the ones that doesn't think like that, your brain has been on drugs and been in a state of shock its entire life. That's why your prefrontal lobe and your frontal lobe is underdeveloped, and you cannot see past the veil that's been placed over your eyes. So therefore, you're not thinking about yesterday. You're thinking about what's happening right now and in front of you. You're not even thinking about what's happening tomorrow or beyond tomorrow, because your brain has been in such a trauma state that it's not developing correctly, so that way that you can see the world for what it is versus the way they want you to see it. See, what is happening is, what has happened over the years is that the most violent species, the most violent, what you mean by violent, you cause tyranny for no reason at all. You harm, kill, colonize, mutilate, scientific experiment on people and other species of life because you're not aware or you're not familiar with that species. And the only way that you can get close to that species or get an understanding of that species is that you have to capture it, you have to drug it up, capture it, and you have to dissect it. Basically kill it. You have to dissect it in order for you to get to know that species. And you have done this for your entirety, through your entire existence on this planet. And you have done a good job of role reversal. This is what's happening, and I want Starseeds to really pay attention to this. This is role reversal, to speak about some of the things that black people have done or are doing to each other at this particular time and moment, at this time right now. Far as the violence that we do with one another, how we speak to each other, how we treat our children, how we abandon our children, how we actually abandon ourselves and abandon our true identity, which is our divine connection throughout the entirety of the cosmos via the sun. So these things have been snatched away from you, and you have adapted a world in reverse. You have adapted a world that made you believe that you are the killer, that you are the abuser, that there is something wrong with you, which it is, to be truthful and honest with you, but it's a cause for that problem. And whenever we speak about the problem and not speak about the core cause, remember what I stated before. I said if you was to get a bowl of water, or you was to get a tub of water, and you would take a pebble and you would drop it in the middle of the bowl, right? You will automatically see ripple effects going in on 360-degree angles in all directions. What we have been trained to do is focus on the ripple effects. We have literally been trained to focus on the ripple effects. Argue if the earth flat around, argue who God created first and who was God's favorite children, and God created us all the same, and genetically and scientifically genetically we are all not the same biologically. To argue back and forth about what continent we're from, African America, all of these things that we argue about are all ripple effects. We're not looking at the stone or the pebble that actually fell into the water, because if you pay attention to that, you will see that everything else comes off of that. Everything else come off the stone. All the ripple effects, everything that you are speaking about, everything that they allow you to speak about freely without shadow banning you and blocking you off the internet, and deeming you to have hatred or violence in your heart. They want you to talk about everything except for anatomy. That's how they do this. Because when you look at anatomy, you find God. When you look at anatomy, you find truth. When you look at anatomy, you find solutions to the problems that we all are facing on this planet. But the black man and the black woman has been abused so much that we have accepted this role reversal, that we are the violent species. We are the uneducated, the uncivilized species. When in all actuality, the complex cell is the most violent and the most brutal species that ever walked on any plane of existence. And not only that, it's the most slowest. And I was going to say retarded, but the most slowest, and it cannot comprehend its own actions that it is doing to others, that is actually affecting them. They do not see it. This is the most violent species on the planet, and they have done so much violence to you that they are now able to trick you using technology, radio, television, cameras, to media, movies, music, to promote to the world and to you and your species that us black men, are unsafe and violent. But that is far from the truth. That's why the universe is separating us. The prokaryotic cell, the single cell organisms will be with the single cell organisms. The complex cell organisms will be with them. That's why they are separating us, so we can see who's the true violent species on this planet, which we all already know in our hearts who's the true violent species. But the planet, the universe, has to separate us, and it's going to show us. I want you to listen to this video right here. I want y'all all to listen to it. How we and they completely forgot about the brutal tactics that they have used in order to get us in this psychological slavery in which we are in. That our own brothers are prideful of the prison in which they are building for themselves. Our own brothers and sisters are prideful for the own prison that they are building for themselves. I'm getting at a bag. I'm getting money. I could pay my bills, my rent, my gas, my electric. These resources come from the planet. And you think because you have what they deem is success, you think you got something? No, you are an implant. It is designed to be that way. And they want you to raise your family that way. You are what you call a good slave, a good boy. You are following the rules, and you are not stepping out of line. You only step out the line that they allow you to step out of. Other than that, you are a good slave. You pay your bills. You graduated from school. You got your indoctrination. You went to college to get further indoctrinated. Or you made rap music that destroyed your species, that further the exploitation of the mother of humanity and your star seeds. You took movie roles and actors and actress roles that further exploited us, that painted us out to be whores and thugs and drug dealers and killers and murderers. You took these roles because you wanted that money, you wanted that fame, that world fame and fortune. And you have gotten it. You have literally lived off the destruction of your own people's mind, making them believe that you are the answer to all their problems, and they are not their own answer. They're not their own solution. You have with great power come great responsibility. You have manipulated your race far too long with the complex cell organism. You are pulling the same stunts as they're pulling, and you will get the same results.
To realize that, yes, the involvement of violence in black folks comes from that long history that the president was talking about, that we have to remember that we learned from some of the best. They had some white boys came over here that did the first beheadings in Point Coupee, Louisiana, where I'm from. Slave insurrection, that was the way you dealt with it. Tuskegee syphilis incident. We're going to see how black men die if they have syphilis, but we pretend we treat them with penicillin, and we're just going to watch the pathology of how they die. Now, that wasn't back 2 200 years ago. That was 1930 to 1974. We're talking about giving these wonderful blankets to the Native Americans infected with smallpox as they walked on that trail of tears just to see how they die and to eliminate their population so we can take all of that land. So the violence that is in America has come from a very learned position that was brought here by some Caucasian folks. All right? So now, to realize.
And this has been going on for quite some time. So just because people clap their hands because majority of the audience, you should all know that they're not black. So majority of the audience are the complex cell organism. Everybody want to clap their hands when they hear some truth about the true violent species on the planet, or everybody want to be like yippee yip. But here's the problem with us knowing that, and I say this to all black men and so-called black women, with us knowing what he just stated, and this is the early 1900s. With us knowing this, how could we possibly hand our children over to be educated and medically evaluated by the same species that perform genocidal acts even up to this very day? How could we do it? And then call ourselves the leading race, call ourselves divine people, call ourselves angelic benevolent beings. We're the source. We're connected to. How could we ever be connected to the source when we're not even connected to our children to the point that we will allow free access to their minds and their physical health by the very bloodline that abused them in the first place? How? That doesn't even make any sense. And for you jokers to be sitting there talking about getting at a bag and you have no life skills. If you look around the world, all other countries, China, Russia, North Korea, all what you would call military countries, right? They all are preparing their youth for war. It ain't even just about the adults, though. The youth is being prepared. Over here in America, you are being softened up. The so-called black woman is the most vulnerable woman over here in America, and she doesn't see it. And she is promoting her own vulnerability. She is promoting that by raising her sons up to be gay, transgender, and weak men. You are raising them up to be lover boys and not men. You are raising them up to be the very males that you do not want to deal with out in the streets. That's what you are raising. And you honestly think when that male becomes of age, that he in adverse situations comes his way, he's going to call to you. And that's what women, y'all like. Y'all like to be needed. Y'all like to be wanted. But you should be needed and wanted by your man, not your child, not your son. Not the males you gave birth to. That's the issue, and you're raising them wrong, and that's why you are the most vulnerable and unprotected. It's always good to hear a mother to be like, oh, I got a son that can protect me, and we give praise to that. We should look down on that. Where is your man at? Where is he at? Not your son. You shouldn't look for your son. You should be looking for your son to have his own woman, his own family to protect. Not to look back for you, not to fulfill your emptiness. This is factual. Look at how the other countries are raising their children and look at what's happening with us. We can't get mad at the result of our species and our children if we're allowing the same abusers to guide and educate them. We should not do that. But again, I fall back. I digress. Don't let this role reversal get you. Don't let television, media, entertainment, music, don't let them reverse you into this lie. These people are not safe, and it's going to get worse. And not to mention, you're starting to see dogs attacking more and more. You're starting to see them. They're losing their minds. The complex cell is losing their mind. They're going to be even more violent. It is not safe to be around them. Abundance and gratitude.